Hello, today, the focus of our attention is the plot of the film Old, filmed in 2021. The film begins with Kai Koppa, an insurance analyst who calculates risks at work, and his wife Priska, the curator of the History Museum, and their children travel to a luxury resort on vacation. Kai and Priska have two children, son Trent is 6 years old and daughter Maddox is 11. At the end of the short vacation, the parents are going to tell their children that they are getting divorced. Although the daughter and son have long understood this, parents constantly quarrel and scandal, even on vacation. Subsequently, we learn that Priska fell in love with another man and for the time being thinks that Kai does not know this. After arriving at the hotel, Trent finds a new friend, Idlib. Idlib lives right at the resort with Uncle Niels, who runs the hotel. The guys begin to exchange encrypted messages. This is how they feel like spies. The next day, during breakfast, the manager Niels approaches the Koppa family and offers them an exclusive vacation on a private beach that even the locals are not aware of. Kai, Priska, Trent and Maddox happily agree to a little adventure. Then it turns out that Niels lied about the exclusivity. Another group of vacationers tourists is sent to the beach, the cardiologist Charles, along with his wife Crystal, 6-year-old daughter Cara and elderly mother Agnes. Agnes takes her dog everywhere with her. An unnamed minivan driver, played in a cameo by the director of the film Old, M. Night Shyamalan, takes tourists to the canyon leading to the beach in the bay. The driver himself refuses to go along with the vacationers. He refers to being busy. But he gives a group of vacationers boxes with everything they need, including food. On the beach, vacationers find another tourist in whom Maddox recognizes the popular rapper Mid-Sized Sedan. Trent then accidentally discovers the body of an unknown woman. The fact is that this is the rapper's companion, who went swimming and disappeared without a trace. But drive. Charles speculates that the mid-sized sedan, who is constantly bleeding from his nose, may have killed her. Then another married couple joins the main characters, Nurse Jarin and his wife, a psychologist Patricia, who suffers from epileptic seizures. And then the adults realize that something strange is happening on the beach. Trent and Cara are rapidly growing up and becoming teenagers, and Maddox pretty quickly turns into a young girl. At the same time, Charles' elderly mother, Agnes, is experiencing breathing problems and appears to be having a seizure. And then the woman dies. The unknown deceased and the rapper's companion completely turns into a skeleton. Priska, as someone familiar with archaeology from working in a museum, suggests that time at the beach goes by too quickly. The point is that in half an hour the main characters lose about a year of their lives. And if they stay in the damn place, they will die in just a day. And not everyone will be able to last even 24 hours. It turns out almost immediately that people cannot leave the beach. Every time one of the tourists tries to get back to the road, he experiences a severe headache, loses consciousness and returns back to the beach. Thus, the main characters fell into a trap in which they are rapidly aging. And if they continue to procrastinate, they are guaranteed to die by the next morning. As events unfold, the characters' well-being is rapidly deteriorating. It turns out that the doctor and chief physician of the clinic, Charles, suffers from either schizophrenia or dementia. In general, he goes crazy pretty quickly. Priska nearly dies as a tumor begins to grow very quickly, which Jarin and Charles struggle to remove. Crystal, fixated on her appearance, notices that she is getting old and falls into despair. The plot continues to gain momentum. The children grow up rapidly. Trent and Cara, succumbing to a surge of hormones, have sex and Cara becomes pregnant. As a result, Cara gives birth in just a few minutes, but the baby dies. The baby appears to be killed by a temporary anomaly caused by the rocks surrounding the beach. It has been suggested that the beach used to be part of the ocean floor. And in the ocean, special rocks have formed from minerals, which affect the human body and cause cells to age rapidly. It is not very clear how this information can help the main characters. And the assumption remains a theory, which is indirectly confirmed only at the very end of the film. Then there is a series of deaths. We are shown that the completely distraught Charles kills rapper Kevin with a knife, in whom he sees a threat. Kai gradually loses his sight. Priska deaths in 1 year. Crystal turns into a hunchback due to a lack of calcium and goes into a cave. Tara tries to climb the rocks to escape from the beach and call for help, but loses consciousness and falls from a great height. We are shown that she is finally and irrevocably dying. Sharon tries to swim to a nearby beach, but drowns. Patricia also dies during another attack. The mutilated Crystal attacks Maddox and Trent in the cave, but after a rather gruesome scene with instantly healing fractures, she dies. Kai and Priska are attacked by a completely distraught Dr. Charles. Kai cannot resist, he practically does not see anything. But Priska saves her husband. First she covers her husband with herself, and then the woman wounds Charles with a rusty knife and he rather quickly, but in terrible agony, dies from blood poisoning. The surviving members of the Copper family sit on the beach at night. Priska and Guy realize that they love each other, and their conflicts have actually been minor. They both die. Only Trent and Maddox, who have matured and begun to age, survive. In the morning, the former children sit on the beach and do not know what to do next. Almost at the very end, Maddox and Trent start fooling around and build a sand castle. In the very ending, we are shown that they are going to look for a way out of the situation, but later. Trent then recalls that he never deciphered Idlib's last note. It doesn't really matter in the end, but Maddox convinces his brother to read the message. In a note, Idlib writes that his uncle Nils, who lured couples to the hellish beach, very much dislikes the coral reef nearby. Maddox and Trent understand that this is their chance. It looks like through a coral reef you can get out of a beach surrounded by deadly rocks. Maddox agrees that it's worth the risk, and the grown-up children dive into the water and swim across the reef, but the woman gets stuck. What is happening in the film, almost at the very end, is unexpectedly shown from a different point of view. The unknown observer who followed the torment of the Holidakis on the beach of death through cameras and binoculars is the same hotel driver who brought them there. He is also an employee of Warren & Warren, a pharmaceutical company that develops cutting-edge drugs. Kai Cape mentioned the company at the very beginning. He learned that a conference of the corporation was taking place at the hotel, and said that his firm wanted to sign a contract with them because Warren & Warren offered suspiciously cheap medical insurance. The observer arrives at the Warren & Warren secret research facility, located near the hotel. Manager Niels goes down to the laboratory, which employs many scientists in white coats, and turns out to be one of the local managers of a pharmaceutical company. The meaning of the ending is as follows. The pharmaceutical corporation Warren & Warren discovered this mysterious accelerated aging beach a long time ago, and turned it into its testing ground for new drugs. Now W&W scientists and researchers do not need to observe patients for decades, just one day is enough to test the effectiveness of a drug. And the company just skimps on research, killing some people trying to cure others. Death Ride organizers believe they are doing a good job of mixing experimental drugs into cocktails and food for potential victims. Thus, doctors sacrifice units to save millions. But we have to talk, rather, about cost optimization and attempts to save on research. All for the sake of profit. Niels proposes to honor the next group of the dead, some of the many, with a minute of silence. The bottom line is that the vacationers shown in the film were not the first or last victims of the Warren & Warren Corporation. The observer driver is confident that everything is fine, all the guinea pigs have died, although Trent and Maddox tried to swim off the beach. In addition, almost at the very end, one of the survivors on the beach is mentioned. Last year, the man almost managed to get out, but he was liquidated by the company in order to get rid of the only witness. Yes, it turns out that people disappear quite often in the ideal resort. But the police don't seem to care. One of the doctors admits the test was successful because psychologist Patricia, who suffers from epileptic seizures, has proven the effectiveness of a drug for epilepsy. Once on the beach, the woman was rapidly aging, but did not remember the illness. This means that the medicine passed the test, it turned out to be effective, and the sacrifice was not in vain. One could say that evil has once again won. But unexpectedly at the end, we are shown that Trent and Maddox survived. And they not only returned to the hotel and wreaked havoc on Niels' work, Trent also handed the notebook of one of the victims to the cop. He quickly found out that the people indicated in it really disappeared without a trace after a vacation at the resort. An investigation begins. The matured Trent meets with Idlib. And in the last footage, we are shown that Niels and the hotel staff are being arrested, and the policeman, along with Trent and Maddox, is flying away in a helicopter. The whole truth about the affairs of the Warren and Warren Corporation will now probably emerge, and the grown-up children will live with their aunt. But what is the essence of the horror film Old, and how to understand the ending? What did M. Night Shyamalan actually make a movie about? Probably, what is shown in the finale should be understood as a rare, but unequivocal victory over evil, which people usually do under the guise of loud and beautiful words. As you know, the most notorious villains and scoundrels usually justify their actions with the best intentions. In addition, for almost 2 hours, Old somehow voices the idea that life is very fleeting and it is important to appreciate every moment. No matter what the moment seems right now, good or bad. Because often people understand that they made mistakes only at the very end of their lives, when nothing can be fixed. And also, Old is one big metaphor for the fact that you shouldn't quarrel with loved ones. Especially over trifles. Because gradually the grievances go away and are forgotten, and there may not be a new chance to meet and apologize. Subscribe to the channel, like and hit the bell. Furthermore, see you in a new storyline.